Hello everyone, welcome to Homegrown Table Talk, and we are here today with some female cattle producers, and I'm going to start out by introducing each of you, and then if you could kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. So we have Amanda, and Cam, and Kelly. So Amanda, do you want to start out?
Sure. So Amanda Kammer, I was born and raised here just north of Rapid City. Grew up on a cattle ranch. My parents still ranch out there, and I guess started showing when I was 8. Dad bought some registered Angus cows, and so that's how we got kind of started in the registered business, and still have commercial cows. And then my sister and brothers help out too, and went to college at SDSU, graduated, and came back home and started working for the Black Hills Stock Show, and been here ever since.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Cam?
My name is Cam Fagerhog, and my husband Tyler and I live near Wessington, South Dakota. We have 2 sons, Lawson is 6 and Cecil is 2. We raise registered Simmental cattle and have a bull sale with my dad, 3C Christensen Ranch. And we primarily run registered Simmentals and commercial Sim Angus cattle.
Awesome. Callie?
Hi, I'm Callie Kindred. I grew up in Harold, South Dakota. My family runs Thomas Ranch. We're a seed stock operation that has primarily Angus, Charolais, Simmentals, and Red Angus. We have a bull sale every year, and then we sell some show heifers and stuff as well. And then I went to college at SDSU as well, and then also at K-State. And then I came home, worked at our family's ranch for a while, and I'm now married to my husband, Clint Kindred, and we actually live here south of Rapid and with his family's ranch, and we have a commercial Angus operation, and I just try to go back and forth between the 2 places and help both as much as I can. And we also just had our first son, and he's 3 months old today.
Oh, fun. When we look at coming back to a family ranch or different elements like that, that is a choice that each one of you has made. Now, yes, there's parts of life where, my husband was a part of this or my parents did this, but each of you individually chose to stay in ranching and are doing so much with it. Why? What is that passion that drives you to continue on with that?
I guess for me it was just that's how I grew up, and obviously ag is a huge part of the world, anywhere and everywhere. I mean, that's our food, and that's where it all comes from. So I guess staying in that line of work for me was just kind of I think it's important.
Definitely. What about you guys?
I agree. I think it was just the way I grew up. I can remember my parents and my grandma saying to me all the time, "Oh, you should go to school to be a doctor or a lawyer," but I just never wanted to do that. I always wanted to come home, and now that we have the baby and stuff especially too, it's just you really think about you want to raise your kids that same way and teach them those values and let them live farm life.
Right, the ranching lifestyle, the ag lifestyle has always been, I grew up in it, so it's always appealed to me, but, it's hard, it's difficult. There's a lot of outside factors that affect your day-to-day life, but it's still, there's so much freedom involved in it, and so much pride, and like you mentioned, feeding America, and just having so much pride in your work too.
Right, exactly. Well, I think it's really neat that you have chosen to continue on, and are there certain things that you hope to see as you grow your cattle business, of either individually or more as a whole for the community, things that you would like to see either change or be more innovative or kind of grow with the times?
I think in recent times I've seen just in my small community, even though we're an ag community, there's still people that are removed from the ranching lifestyle, are removed from our industry. And so it's become evident that people want to know where their food comes from. People want to know who's producing that food. And in the last couple of years, I've kind of taken an interest in, whether it's social media, and I do write for our local newspaper. kind of showcasing our lifestyle and showing people how much work and how much we care about our livestock. And I think that that sort of communication needs to be put out, not just in my community, but in all communities, especially in larger suburban areas.
Yeah. I've seen some of the stuff that Cam has wrote on her blog and stuff. She's done a great job letting people know what it's like to do our lifestyle, and I've tried to do the same thing with our social media, or whether it's people wanting to come out to our sale or a ranch, just give them a chance to come and find out what it really is all about.
Definitely. And you've seen that in your individual ranch, but then also at the stock show of getting to see urban and rural people all in one.
Yep. And I think it's just education, and these people now do know, they want to know where that stuff comes from, and they want it to be healthy and safe, and that's our job to make it that way. But the education is key, along with communication. Yep.
Definitely.
And getting that story through.
Right. Yeah. If COVID hasn't taught us anything, it's that there are a lot of people that now know that hamburger and steak don't just materialize on our grocery shelves, which honestly sometimes is even to no fault of their own. They just had no idea. And so that's why education is so important. And that's why I appreciate that all of you are here today to just give more insight into all that it comes from and the pride that goes into a product that us as consumers are eating and that we want to take pride in as well. Welcome back to Homegrown Table Talk. I want to start this part out with just tell us what it was like growing up in agriculture, and then for you two who have children right now, what is it like, and why are you happy and proud that you're able to raise them in that same lifestyle that you were raised in?
I guess growing, I always wanted to go with my dad, because he usually always had the horse trailer hooked up, so that was me. Always wanted to go with Dad. I started with a pony, and then, of course, worked my way up as I got older. But then it just continued to, you have chores, bum lambs or show calves, and so if I wasn't at school, I was in the barn, and we just always had chores, But I have a younger sister and two younger brothers, so we always had help too. We were a team. It was a team effort. So
that's neat to have that team aspect in a family.
Right.
Instead of, everyone always going their separate ways, which is part of life, but to be able to have that unifying factor that brings them together.
And it's 365 days. Nobody gets a day off. They got to be fed every day, So it's the animals rely on you. They really do.
Right?
Yep.
It's a big responsibility.
It is.
That's for sure. And, that's also what you are now teaching your children. What are some additional aspects to that you really like?
I can remember sitting in the AI shack with my dad, and sometimes he would let me pick out what bull he was going to AI the cow to. And that kind of gave me a sense of purpose. It kind of helped to fuel the fire and get myself interested into what we were doing and different matings. And now, my son, he rides along with us. He helps us gather cows when we're AIing and is taking in that process too. And I think that, including your kids on those big decisions when they're young helps to grow their confidence. And he might not be involved in ranching when he gets older, but he's still going to, been raised with that sense of purpose and be able to connect with people that, aren't familiar with what we do day to day.
That's the one thing, is having that foundation, and regardless of where your children decide to go, they're going to be able to take that lifestyle and put it into whatever they're doing. So I think that's a really cool point.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with Amanda. I was kind of like her. I always wanted to go with my dad or my uncle or my grandpa and ride in the tractor wagon or whatever. And so we just kind of grew up doing it. And then kind of like Cam said, we would get to pick out our show calves, and then we might pick the best one at the ranch, but they'd let us buy it for $800. And that started when we were 8 because of 4-H, which was great. And then from then we got our own checkbook and we learned to manage our money, and we had to take care of that animal. So it just taught you so many life skills, from money management to responsibilities and all that. And our son's only 3 months old, but hopefully we can do that same thing for him.
Well, and I know, like, yeah, from the making the decisions and stuff, like, I know Callie collegiate judge too, but there's a lot of life skills that come from judging, and yeah, starting to pick bulls at AIN or picking the show calves out of the pasture. Like, I know that that drove me into livestock judging a lot.
Sometimes I can't keep it straight all that that you guys do, and I think it's amazing the versatility that it takes, and that it's not like, oh, this is my one job, I can only do this part on the ranch. It's going back to that team effort. Everyone has a role, and you have to switch that role many times because you're dealing with natural things. They don't they can't be fully controlled. So, you know, why don't we talk a little bit about the versatility that it takes, but also the exciting part that comes with it of having something that is different a lot.
Well, I guess I wear a lot of different hats. I work in town. I work for the True Dakotan, our local newspaper. I'm the graphic designer, and I do some feature writing. Most of my feature writing is agriculturally related, so that's really fun that I get to share my story that way. I also, because I'm a graphic designer and familiar with sales and marketing, I do a lot of that for my husband and I's cattle operation, as well as our horse training business. And then I also help my dad through making our bull sale catalog. I also make about 5 other producers' bull sale catalogs too. So that keeps me pretty busy this time of year.
Sure.
Because this is sale season. Otherwise, from day-to-day things, whether it's, you know, helping with calving, whether it's heat detecting, or whether it's making sure my boys aren't getting into too much trouble around the chute.
Exactly, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's very true. There's just a lot of different hats to wear when you are the women in agriculture. Whether it's taking care of the kids, or, you know, we might not do the majority of the haying or the cattle working or whatever, but whenever somebody needs to fill in, you're kind of just expected to do all the jobs. And whether it's writing down tags, whatever needs done, you are the person doing it. And that's kind of how I've done as well. Me and my husband have our own little horse operation along with my grandpa, and they've pretty much allowed us to kind of take that over, which has been great. And then we rodeo on the side, and it's kind of just doing a lot of different things to make sure that every year you can make ends meet. And sometimes the horses might be a great year, and sometimes they have not the greatest year, but the cattle might have a great year. So I think everybody that's in farming and ranching can speak about trying to be diversified to make sure that you can make the ends meet.
Yeah, and you know, I'd like, we also have sheep too. I can't believe I say that, but that's what paid for us for our kids' college. You know, that was kind of the side little deal. We could do that all by ourselves, but that paid for college. But yeah, to, you know, being versatile, like I work in town, you know, and that kind of helps support my side of things. But you know, then obviously I can help when I need to. But and honestly, the women are more organized, so we always have to make sure the paperwork's getting done. So yeah, the versatility is large on our side of it.
Of course. Well, it's so interesting because it just seems like, and you kind of mentioned this is for everyone that is involved in ranching, but you're doing all of these things and working so hard every single day to make sure in the ultimate end, right, that the world is fed. And that's a big deal, and I applaud you for caring that much, because you don't have to. You don't have to, but you choose to. And I think that's really cool, and I appreciate that. We are filming this during the Black Hills Stock Show and Rodeo that happens every year here in Rapid City. So obviously I understand what brings you out, but we can talk a little bit about that. But I want to hear how both of you are involved, what does what do events like this mean to you, and how are they built into the program that you run right now?
So yep, 63rd this year, actually. So, I never actually thought, actually a funny kind of connection is I never thought I think it was 2005, my family won Champion Angus Female, which was actually out of Thomas's bull. So nice connection there. But I never thought I'd be here actually working, so I've been around stock show my whole life as well. And now working it, and there's a lot of work that goes in on the backside, a lot. And we continue to grow and add events, and our whole goal is to get people to Rapid. And it's a little tough to do in January, February. It gets kind of cold like it is today, but that's our whole goal is, we have the vendors and the cattle producers and the horse people, and so we're always trying to bring in buyers and potential buyers for vendors and the rodeo events and stuff. So that's always our mission, is to keep adding events, and we're growing, and to get the people here.
Of course. So speaking to that, how often have both of you come out? And I know you've mentioned earlier off camera that you've come a lot to this event.
I think I maybe missed one in my entire life. I won't say how many because I'll reveal my age. But my parents just always made it a big deal to make it out for Simmental weekend or for even the Buffalo sale. So my birthday is the end of January, so my birthday money was always spent on something here at the trade show. I really looked forward to that, and it's just was kind of become a family tradition. I came out, as a young adult, and now my husband and I, we make it a point to make sure we bring our boys to this, and it's something that our oldest remembers, and he always looks forward to it. So.
That's really fun.
I think I've been here just about every year too. So I know I missed 1 year for college livestock judging because we couldn't make it. We had contests that same time. But like Amanda said, they try to get so many people here. And just yesterday when I went up to pay for a Red Angus that we bought, there was people in line from Frederick and a bunch of people like on the northeast side of the state who you maybe wouldn't think would come to something like this, and they're here. And then some people stopped by our stall who had been to Fort Worth and San Antonio, and so they were just crossing stock shows off their list, and this made the list. So it is a great event, and our family makes sure to come and use it as a promotion for our bull sale and our operation. We've had horses on the horse sale. Me and my husband come to the rodeo. It just covers basically all the assets of our business and what we want to promote and show to the public of what we're doing.
Right. And the one neat thing about the stock show, and not just here in Rapid City, but all over the country, is that it allows urban individuals who may not be connected to the agriculture world to have something fun to do. It's entertaining, but then also get a little bit of insight into everything that you do. And I say a little bit because there's so much. But what are some things that you either would love to say to someone that doesn't understand agriculture or who has not been exposed to it? What would you like them to know?
I think it's just really important that if you don't have a broad knowledge of agriculture, that you try and seek someone out that does. Get the information right from a reliable source, because there are some sources out there that aren't reliable. There's a lot of misconception about agriculture, about producers, about what our goals are. So I just think it's really important that people reach out to a good source, to a reliable source.
Yeah, I think you can find information so many different places, but especially in South Dakota, it's easy to find someone who has a connection and go ask them the questions that you have and find out. And just, if you ever question maybe, what the ranchers are all about or something, remember that those cattle or sheep or whatever it is are taking care of them. So we're going to take the best care of them that we can, because that's what we rely on. And, there might be stereotypes about cowboys or cowgirls being tough and hard, and my husband is probably one of the most straightforward, kind of hard people. And you wouldn't believe how attached he'll get to a little baby calf that's struggling, or one that he brought in out of the blizzard, and then you see the soft side of him like you wouldn't expect. So know that we're in it for that reason, and we're taking care of those because they take care of us.
It's a livelihood.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if our livestock aren't comfortable, then they're not doing well.
Right.
Neither
We're
neither are
not.
we.
Yeah, we're not
So-
resting either.
Sometimes there can be a misconception of that females in agriculture are not uplifted and really a part of the group and this and that, and that's entirely wrong. So what would you say to someone who had maybe those misconceptions about that you're just hanging out in the kitchen making lunch?
Yeah, that doesn't work. Like, I think Cam might have said off camera, like, yeah, she'll go gather cows and then has to go put the crock pot on, and you hope it doesn't burn, and then you're back out in the corral. And so yeah, it's it's everything from inside the house, inside the home, to everything outside as well. I mean, vaccinations, gathering, sorting, branding, cooking, keeping the kids in line, making sure they're getting to school on school days, but then making sure that they're getting chores done and stuff too. So the women are the main power stroke of the families, I would say.
Right.
Right. And I think that might be because, naturally women kind of come by being, nurturing. They come by being detail oriented, maybe better communicators. So that's probably why, in Callie and I's operations, we've kind of fell into the marketing aspect of things. And I think women fall into the agricultural industry quite well, actually, because of our attributes.
Yeah, I think the women are able to just fill in wherever needed is what you really see on our operation. My mom has kind of went from being really involved in helping work cattle to now she's the main office lady and the cook for all the hired men. And we have a girl who works for us that literally wears every single hat, no matter what she has to do. It might be mowing the lawn, it might be cooking, might be washing the cattle for Black Hill Stock Show. So I think that women just naturally can kind of fill in where needed and do the best job they can and help everyone get things done that need done.
Exactly. It really sounds like you and the other women in agriculture are the glue to really what holds this lifestyle together, but also is going to continue to move it into the future and make it something that still exists because the world depends on it. I really appreciate you all being here today, and thank you for everything that you do. And I hope that there are other little girls out there that can look up to you and see what you're doing and be able to continue to propel this lifestyle and industry forward.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you for watching Homegrown Table Talk. We'll see you next time.